Good morning, my little YouTube followers and all of my students who want to know more about Autodesk Inventor. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about parametric constraints, which might seem a little odd to some of you because it is a little more complicated than just saying this is a ½ inch off the side. But it will let you do more things and gives you more freedom when you go to change anything in your design. So we're going to start with a standard IPT, which is a standard part file. I'm going to create a 2D sketch. I'm going to select the XY plane. I'm a former math teacher. I like the XY plane for everything. I'm going to create a rectangle number 4. I'm going to just click and notice it created the rectangle. But I'm going to show you another little trick, which some of you probably already know, which is if I don't click, I can now come down here and type in my sizes. So 5.75 is how wide I want it to be, and then I hit tab and I want it to be 0.75 tall. Hit enter, and now when I zoom out, it did that for me without having to actually click dimension. I'm going to finish my sketch, again zoom all, and I'm going to do a direct control here and put it into 3 inches for my extrude. So what I have is a 5.75 wide rectangle that is 0.75 high and now extruded back 3 inches. So now I'm going to create a sketch on the top of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle, and this time I want my rectangle to be a 1 by 1, so I just type 1, tab 1, enter, and now I have a 1 by 1 rectangle. I want this to line up exactly in the center of my board, but let's assume I forgot what the center of my board was. If I click dimension, click the edge of my board, and click over here, it says I can't dimension that. That's fine. I just want to know what it is. So I'm going to hit accept. I'm going to come to the top and hit accept as well. And now that tells me sizes, but it doesn't necessarily give me the information I want. So what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to get out of dimensioning. I right-clicked OK to do that. I'm going to right-click over here, and I'm going to come down in my selections to dimension display. I actually want to see the expression. And you're going to say, why? Because I need to know in Inventor what it's calling each of those lines, because that's how parametric modeling works, and it's the easiest way to do it. So I want this to center, but I want it to center on a horizontal plane. So I'm going to click horizontal in my constraints panel up on my ribbon, and I'm now going to see where I get the green dot. That means center, and where I get the green dot is center. And so now it has made sure those are centered on a horizontal line, which is what I wanted. But I don't want to center them on the top. I want to put 2 squares on here, or a square and a circle. So I'm just gonna, I have to figure out that. So basically I have to look at my board and say, well, that's essentially going to be broken into 3 parts. So I'm going to click my dimension tool, click there, click here, and I'm going to say, okay, I want to dimension it, but I want to take whatever the main dimension is and divide it by 3. But because the center of my box has a ½ inch on either side of that centerpiece, I need to subtract a ½ inch to make sure it's on center of its own box. And so notice f of x up here just means that this is now an equation. So I just took this line, which was D7, divided it by 3, and then subtracted a ½ inch to scooch it over. So now I'm breaking my board into 3 parts. So I'm going to right click OK, and now I'm going to do the same thing with a circle. Again, I don't have to finish my circle. I can just type 1 and then enter, and it'll change my circle. And once again, I want to horizontally center it. So I'm going to find the center of this line over here. There it is, green dot. I know the center of my circle because circles always have a center point in them. So I just clicked it. Okay, now it's centered horizontally correctly. I'm going to click on dimension. Now I need to center it vertically. So I'm going to click. I clicked my line, I clicked the outside of my circle, but it wants to center it on center, which is nice because that makes my life easier. And again, I'm going to click the original line and divide by 3 on my keyboard, enter. See what it did? It's basically taken my 5.75 board and divided into 3. It's done all the math for me, and I didn't have to do any math at all, which is part of what parametric modeling will get you. So now that I'm done with that, I'm going to click OK and finish my sketch. I'm going to come over here and directly tell it to extrude both of those, but I want to cut, and I want it to go all the way through. I don't want it to push it down to the bottom or anything. I just want it all the way through my thing, so that when I go look at my top, you can see I've managed to cut them, and they're divided perfectly, so both are centered correctly where they belong. Okay, so now that we have made our box with parametric modeling, I'm going to show you why parametric modeling is so cool and how it can help you by changing my board from having only 2 holes in it to now I want to have 3 holes in it. So I want to edit this, so I'm going to come over here, and you see in my browser extrusion number 2. I can roll my mouse over it and it shows me which one is extrusion number 2. If I right click on that and pull down to edit sketch, I can now go back to that original sketch. So now I want to put a figure in between my circle and my square. I'm going to draw a triangle. And so what I need is for those to, instead of dividing my board into 3 sections, I now need to divide it into 4 sections to make them even. So I'm just going to double click on my parametrically done dimension for my circle, go back and make that 4 instead of 3, and I'm going to do the same on my square. Take that 3 out and make it a 4. Notice it slid them apart. So now I can come up here to polygon, and you can select any number of sides. You can have 6 sides if you want. You can have 8 sides. You can have, I don't know, you can probably do 100 sides, but I only want 3 because I want a triangle. So I'm going to click done, and whoops, no I'm not, because I didn't make it. So now see how I've got my little yellow dot on my cursor, and do you see that I can start directly in the middle? You see the little ants right here? See those little marching ants, as people call them? So we're going to back up, I'm going to click there, and I'm going to turn and make my rectangle. Right click OK to get out of it. And now, but I don't really want my triangle all wonky like that. I kind of want it to line up. So I'm going to go with collinear constraint, and I'm going to make these 2 lines line up together. So now the bottom of my triangle is lined up with the bottom of my square, which is fine. Right click OK. The problem I have is I don't know how big this triangle is, so I'm going to click that. Notice I can click this tiny little red tip on the very, very tippy top of my triangle. Click that, pull over. I really want that to be 1 inch. So now when I zoom back out, you can see here what I have is now a 1 inch height of a triangle that is lined up with that, and that is probably in the center, but since I messed with it, I'm not really sure if it's in the center. So rather than being unsure, I'm going to go ahead and make a horizontal constraint on it. And I'm going to go, because I want it to be halfway, so I'm going to come over here and click. Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong one. Oops. Come up here and find my, where am I? There I am. Ah, there's my green dot. And there's the center of my triangle. And it doesn't want to move. Why doesn't it want to move? Because I constrained it the other way. Alright, so I can still move this around and put it where I want it. See how I get the marching dots right there? That's what I want. What I'd like is for a, whoops, cancel, vertical dot to dot. That was my problem. I was trying to do horizontal and I should have been doing vertical. So now it's all lined up. It's perfectly centered. I can finish my sketch. Notice it moved those, but it didn't extrude out my triangle because I didn't fix that yet. So I'm going to go back, edit feature, and back here the first thing it asked me to do is select profile. So I'm going to select that profile as well, hit OK, and it now applies that exact same hole or cut feature that I already did to my board. I've now done to this triangle as well. So now I have my perfectly shaped board, and that was really easy to do, and I didn't have to do a ton of math to do it.